sisters out there. Precinct Officer of 1,000. Isupk, I'm the Commander General. Today is a very powerful, heavy day, man. Today is the Lord's Day, Feast of Dedication. All right, before we even get started, man, let's go ahead and stand up at a margin. Upon up with drum, which means to face the east. The Lord's Prayer in Hebrew. Abanaw, Shabbat Shemayim, Kodash, Hayah, Shemka, Yahweh, Malakwaka, Haba'ah, Ratazayaka, Hayah, Ashah, Ba'aratazah, Kawa, Hayah, Bashemayim, Lathalanaw, Lakam, Kab, Yawam, Wasalapanaw, Kabawapnaw, Kasalapnaw, Kabawakinaw, Wala'ah, Abiya'anaw, Banasana one, Abor, Hawashanaw, Mayun, Ra, Kaya, Laka, Hamalakwa, Waha'ala, Wata'apura, La'awalamyam, Aman. Lord's Prayer in English. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Yahweh, thy kingdom come. Thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. And forgive us of our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So be it. All right. Shall we all saw? Upon Kudam, which means Salaki. Just sit down. Shabia, which means to be seated. Salaki. All right, today what I'm going to be starting with is an important feast day, man. And we're going to go into the history as of why we keep this feast day. Like this one right here is the one you should be very prideful about, of knowing your culture. This one right here is to show you how important your culture is and how strong you are as a people. All right, we just never just some people that we just back down from everything, man. And then to go even further, knowing your culture, man, shows you how important it is and how you get out of captivity. You understand? Knowing your culture is very important. And now, what you're going to learn to see how it is when you do not know your culture and how important it is to have it, all right? So first we're going to start at John, the 10th chapter, verse 22. Somebody pull that. Let me know when you got it.
John chapter 10, starting at verse 32.
Verse 22?
Verse 22. And it was at Jerusalem the feast of dedication, and it was winter.
Keep going.
And Jesus walked in the temple in Solomon's porch.
All right. So this right here, it goes to show you. I bring this out to kill the notion of Christmas, right? You understand? I bring this notion out to show you that Christ, what he actually celebrated in the winter. And guess what? In the Bible, when you're reading it, it ain't talking about Christmas that he celebrated. It's strictly talking about what he celebrated right there in the winter. Jesus Christ celebrated the Feast of Dedication. Read John 10 and 22 again.
John chapter 10 and verse 22. And it was at Jerusalem.
It was at where?
At Jerusalem.
So this was in our homeland, right? Read.
The Feast of Dedication.
The Feast of Dedication. All right. Keep going.
And it was winter.
And it was winter. So you telling me, man, they were celebrating this in the wintertime. All right. If they was talking about celebrating Christmas in the winter, they just would have put it in the Bible. But it goes to show you it's a direct cut on Christmas. This is a direct cut that Christ was ever associated with Christmas. He never was. The whole time, Black Jesus Christ, Yahushua, he was in the truth, man.
That's right.
He followed the Lord.
That's right.
And he showed the example on how to be perfect in the laws, the statutes and commandments, man. So I just wanted to show that. Now we're going to go to Maccabees. We're going to go to the book of Maccabees. First Maccabees 1:1.
The book of First Maccabees, chapter 1 and verse 1. And it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Shittim, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and Medes, and he reigned in his stead, the first over Greece.
All right, so this talking about who? Who are we talking about right here in history? This is historical and it's biblical. Who this talking about? Go ahead, Devon.
Alexander the Greek.
Get that brother in hand. You feel me? This is what it's talking about. It's talking about Alexander the Greek. Okay? And it's talking about how he reigned. And it's going to show you how wicked he really was, too. You see, in your oppressor's history, you'll learn all the good things about Alexander. They call him Alexander the Great. When you was learning about Alexander in school, they called him Alexander the Great. Mm-hmm. We in here, we do not call, nothing was ever great he ever did. All right, and it's going to show you. Okay, keep going.
Verse 2. And made many wars and won many strongholds and slew the kings of the earth.
So he was going around, man, killing, destroying, destruction, getting into wars, winning them. He pretty much taking over the world with his wickedness. His rulership came through killing a lot of kings, right? Keep going.
And went through to the ends of the earth and took spoils of many nations, insomuch that the earth was quiet before him. Whereupon he was exalted and his heart was lifted up.
So, man, you got to think about that. He taking spoils. Think about the spoils. What is this talking about when it's talking about spoils, y'all? What is this talking about with the spoils? Go ahead, Fatah.
Like the riches, the wealth, the money, the resources.
Exactly. So when it's saying right here, he going around taking spoils of many nations. So he going around all type of people taking all their riches. He going around the Africans taking their riches. He going around the Arabs taking all their gold and their riches and all the goods that they got. He going on to every single nation, man. He going and he killing them and he taking all their spoils, their goods, right? And so much that he began to be lifted up. What is that talking about? That's talking about his pride. Walking around with his chest stuck out. Nobody can touch him. Feeling untouchable. That's how Alexander the Greek, that's how his mindset was after doing all these heinous crimes and all this murder. Keep going.
And he gathered a mighty strong host and ruled over countries and nations and kings who became tributaries unto him.
So let me tell you this. He ruled over all these countries. He had all this power in the earth through killing, you know what I'm saying? Through just straight up destroying everything. And then on top of that, not to mention, he put fear in a lot of people.
Right.
You go in and you ravage somebody's household and you take all their goods and you tell them, you know what I'm saying, you in control, you basically extorting everybody.
Right.
So he was going around a big, huge extortion. This Alexander the Greek. Keep going.
After these things, he fell sick and perceived that he should die. Wherefore he called his servants, such as were honorable and had been brought up with him from his youth, and parted his kingdom among them while he was yet alive.
All right, so dig this. Alexander the Greek, he got sick. You know what I'm saying? And then he was about to die. Now, somebody tell me, if y'all know this, I'd be highly impressed. All right? How was he dying? Like, how did he even get sick? What was he doing? Come on, go ahead.
I believe he had STD, like syphilis or something like that.
Give that brother a hand. That brother had the nasty on him. And he ain't no brother. This enemy, this cruel bastard had the nasty on him, man. And it's a real reason why he had that nasty on him. Now we're gonna go and get into it a little more graphic, right? And explain what he was. Anybody know his history? Alexander the Greek? Go ahead, Mashah.
If I remember from school, he was one of the youngest men ever to, what they say, conquer the world. He just went around conquering everything. And they say Alexander the Great, some people call him Alexander the Great, but by the time he was 36,
the only people that call him Alexander the Great is the oppressor, the devil, that the Bible speaks of. But keep going, my bad, to your point.
He was in his 30s when he had conquered what they thought was the known world at that time. He had conquered everything. And just after he conquered it, that's when he fell sick.
Yeah, but my gut says, what was this thing? Yeah, he caught a disease, right? He caught one of them little plagues down there. But how so? What was his thing? What was his field? Go ahead, Brakia.
He had to go into one of our sisters?
No.
All right.
Go ahead, Katai. No, go ahead, Kapan.
He sleeping with men.
Get that brother a hand. This man that studied. Alexander the Greek was a filthy homosexual, man. He liked it men. He liked it little boys, to be exact. All right, y'all think I'm making this up? I'm not. This is as true in history as it gets. That's why he died so early. Okay? He caught that little plague. All right?
HIV.
You hear me? Keep going.
And his servants bear rule everyone in his place. And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them many years, and evil was multiplied in the earth.
Hold on, wait a minute. Read that again, brother.
And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves.
So he on his deathbed, and he going through his, his men he brought up in the ranks with him, and all this wickedness. He about to depart. He just spreading and dividing all his kingdom, right? His kingdomship on where they gonna rule now. He giving it all his, inheritance, which really not his inheritance because he stole all that. You understand? Keep going.
And there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes.
All right, so now it's talking about this wicked root. What wicked root? What is that symbolic to? That wicked root is talking about. Go ahead, Kaplan.
Like a progenitor of people, or like.
It's a progenitor. You own it. Keep going, but finish it.
Yeah, kind like everybody that come after him, is pretty much gonna follow his footsteps of evil.
Okay, you on to it. Basically, man, this wicked root was coming from the things that he learned. You know what I'm saying? He was raised up in, as you should say, right? Keep going.
And there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes, son of Antiochus the king, who had been a hostage at Rome, and he reigned in the 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks.
All right, so he was reigning in his kingdom, right? You got to remember, this is a wicked person, right? So we're gonna get into it. We're gonna learn why he's so wicked. Keep going.
In those days went there out of Israel wicked men, persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow.
So dig this. Wicked men start coming out of Israel, right? These wicked men, they wanted to follow the customs of the heathens on purpose. These wicked men, modern times, like Reverend Jesse Jackson's, all right, Reverend Al Sharpton's, and Martin Luther King's. You know what I'm saying? Your Christian pastors. Of some sort, like really wicked men for real, wanted to do a deal with the devil. They wanted to associate themselves with the oppressor, man, and get down with them. Make a trade, make these covenants with them. What's those covenants? Those are contracts. Make this thing to make them join all together in wickedness. All right, so these is wicked men that's coming out of Israel. All right, keep going.
So this device pleased them well. Then certain of the people were so forward herein that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the orders of the heathen.
So dig this. The kings, these wicked men got license to put out these decrees, and you know what I mean, to be so wicked. All right, they got license to do these things, just like how your Christian pastor have the okay to say whatever he want and get as much money as he want off lying on the Bible. Go ahead.
Also, would that be also comparable to like the people who make the laws and bills, like in today's society? You got all these politicians,
like your judges, your politicians, somebody in that a high stature, right? That's how these people was, man. License. That's why I was talking about this. All right, keep going.
Whereupon they built a place to exercise at Jerusalem according to the customs of the heathen.
Keep going.
And made themselves uncircumcised and forsook the homely covenant and joined themselves to the heathen and were sold to do mischief.
This is just straight up real evil, wicked men coming out of the nation of Israel, man. They ain't give a damn about the Most High. They didn't care about serving the Lord, none of that. All they care about was doing what pleases their oppressor. They were so much being behind their oppressors behind, right? They didn't forgot about the Most High. They didn't forgot about their traditions and their heritage. Instead, they wanted to get that up, serve the devil. All right, keep going.
Now when the kingdom was established before Antiochus, he thought to reign over Egypt, that he might have the dominion over 2 realms. Wherefore he entered into Egypt with a great multitude, with chariots and elephants and horsemen and a great navy.
All right, so Antiochus is so evil, man. He's so much of a conqueror in his mind, because you know what I'm saying? Taking everything from you just ain't enough. All right, if he going to go ransack a place, he not just gonna take everything and all your gold and all your riches. This is the mind of your oppressor. You think I'm greedy when it comes to food? No, he is greedy when it comes to everything. He'll take all your money, your gold, your riches, take, you know what I'm saying, everything you had to live for, and then kill you. And then kill all your family.
Right.
And slaughter everybody. That's the mindset he has today. That ain't never going nowhere with your oppressor. Your oppressor think like that now. And we reading about this. This happened, what, 2,000 to 4,000 years ago? Guess what? He's still in this mindset. This is just the history of your oppressor. How he think. Okay, keep going.
And made war against Ptolemy, king of Egypt.
Now go and skip down to First Maccabees 1 and 20. Now go ahead and skip down. Give y'all a revamp though. He basically, man, took over Egypt. Basically, Antiochus went in there, conquered Egypt, took all their gold, stolen everything, killed everybody. Men, women, children, all of them, you name it. Antiochus went in and ransacked them.
First Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 20.
We read the part where it says equals was multiplied on earth.
Come.
And after that, Antiochus had smitten Egypt, he returned again in the 143rd year and went up against Israel.
Went up against who?
Israel.
And listen, now dig this, right? Antiochus had already conquered a lot. But his evil and his wickedness, his little wicked tactics, tic-tac, whatever you call it, right? Those things happen, and now he's coming for Jerusalem now. He coming to, you know what I'm saying, the Israelites not with it, you know? And now you're going to see how he feel about God's show. This is the real true spirit of your so-called oppressor. Now you about to see how he really feel about God's chosen people. Not like how you learn in no Christian church where God loves everybody and they don't even read the Bible. You about to literally read in your Bible, right? How he really feel about God. Okay, keep going. First off, it said that in that year he went up against Israel and Jerusalem. Okay, keep going.
Up against Israel and Jerusalem with a great multitude.
With a great multitude, meaning a big army. You know what I'm saying? He came deep as ever. You know what I mean? Keep going.
And entered proudly into the sanctuary.
And, hold on, he did what?
Entered proudly into the sanctuary.
You know what it means to enter into the sanctuary proudly? Like, somebody give me an example of that. What y'all think when y'all hear this? This the spirit of your oppressor, right? Again, he entered into the temple. Oh, the wow, appreciate that. That's like the FBI coming in here proudly with guns all out on everybody, ready to kill everything. I'm gonna give y'all a better mindset of what it really is, right? That's how he came into the temple of the Lord. I'm gonna show you how disrespectful he is, man. Keep going.
And entered proudly into the sanctuary and took away the golden altar and the candlestick of light and all the vessels thereof.
He did what?
Took away the golden altar and the candlestick of light and all the vessels thereof.
You see this stuff on the table that we really seriously cherish, man? Think about the FBI coming in here, knocking all this over. You see this menorah right here? In Jerusalem, it used to be way more bigger than this. In Jerusalem, it was a big old gold menorah. Way more bigger, way more colder, way more glorious in our when we were standing in our temples. It was way more better than this. This is just what we had to remember now, which is a sad thing. And this is really our culture. You see what I'm saying? They make fun of it when they're talking about Kwanzaa and all that out there, whatever that is. They trying to make fun of us when they think about this, because this was the L that they took. All right. So yeah, this how your oppressor feel about the Most High, man. Those precious ornaments we had in the temple, they took all that out of there. They disrespected the temple, man. Keep going.
And the table of the showbread, and the pouring vessels, and the vials, and the censers of gold, and the veil, and the crown, and the golden ornaments that were before the temple, all which he pulled off.
Man, he took all our riches, man. Like us, we was on the come up. You know what I'm saying? Jerusalem was on a big come up. We was good. All our gold, all our establishments, we had all that gold up under. You know what I'm saying? Up under the temple. That's how we stashed our gold. So that's how we ran it, like a government. You know what I'm saying? This is how the temple used to get ran, like a government, man. You know what I'm saying? How we established our currency. We established it with gold in that time. We had so much gold. Talking about drip, you ain't even seen drip until you seen us, man. Right. And guess what? Your oppressor proudly took that. You know what I'm saying? When they say proudly, they don't mean like he's taking it with a smile on his face. He's taking it with pride. Like, I'm over you. I'm better than you.
Right.
Basically defecating on you, man. All right, keep going.
He took also the silver and gold and precious vessels. Also he took the hidden treasures which he found.
He took the hidden treasure that was found. We used, like I said, we used to store gold, man. We used to store it in little safes, man, underground, whatever we had to do. That's what we did. And guess what? Judites is still like that still to this day. You know what I'm saying? We saving up, you know what I'm saying, our currency, whatever we do. We go store that somewhere sacred. You know what I'm saying? If we don't want to use no bank, we ain't got to.
Right.
That's just how we roll. That's how we always roll. This is in our history. This is in our DNA. Okay, keep going.
And when he had taken all away, he went into his own land, having made a great massacre, and spoke very proudly.
And this is what he did. This is what this evil bastard did. He went into our land and he made a great massacre. I'm talking about killing men, women, and children by the thousands. You know what I'm saying? Did he act? This is the same oppression we living with still to this day, man.
Right.
Like, it don't make no sense for you to ever think you could trust somebody like this. Like, history showing you, and history have to repeat itself so much to show you that you can't trust this man. This man would never ever love you. He is a psychopath. All right? Keep going.
Therefore, there was a great mourning in Israel in every place where they were.
And guess what? Our people was toned up about that. You know what I mean? That destroyed our people. That affected us mentally. Still to this day, that still affects us, man. Like, you should be, look, our history got viciously taken away from us. It ain't just good taken away from us, it got viciously taken away. Violently. All right? These things that we learn and all these customs of the heathen, it comes from Rome and Greece. And your oppressor. That's where all these Thanksgiving and Christmas and all these holidays come from. They come from him. We just decided to join them. Okay? Keep going.
So that the princes and elders mourned, and virgins and young men were made feeble, and the beauty of women was changed.
You see how that can affect our people, man? All that trauma that we done gone through, they gotta think about that. And then they try to say that the 12 tribes ain't all of Israel. Like, you go over there in Argentina, you think they living like your oppressor? No. You go over there in Mexico, you think that they living good? No. You go over there and you look at the tribe of Benjamin, which is so-called Jamaicans in Jamaica, you think they living good? No, they living in shimmy shacks, okay? Little small shimmy shacks.
Right.
All right? That ain't nothing to be proud about.
Right.
All right? I'm going to tell you something. The Lord, man, once he put this oppressor in his place, he going to be the one starving in the ghettos. He going to be the ones that have to suffer. And guess what? He ain't going to know where his meal going to come from.
That's right.
All right? That's what's coming to him. He going to have a black Jesus in his house. And he going to praise him just like how we had to praise white man Jesus.
Right.
That's coming, man. Keep going.
Every bridegroom took up lamentation, and she that sat in the marriage chambers was in heaviness. The land also was moved for the inhabitants thereof, and all the house of Jacob was covered with confusion.
Man, and then just to sum up this chapter right here, this chapter is nothing but massacre, man. Nothing but straight up senseless murders from like a serial killer. That's how the oppressor is, man. He's like a serial killer when it comes to this, man.
Right.
He's sinister to y'all. You think he care about kids and your children? You think he had a capacity to think about them and have some type of compassion? You out your mind. You out your mind, man. He gonna lay your kids flat out right in front of you. Not gonna care about them, and he'll do something gruesome and vicious to them right in front of their faces. You wouldn't even believe it. You understand? That's how your oppressor is. That's how he lay. Okay? Now go to 1 Maccabees chapter 2, verse 1. So that's just to sum up that chapter, man. All these massacres was happening. Antiochus was sending men and armies to invade Israel and the Israelites, killing them all, man, killing them all. So then the Lord go raise up a man. Keep going.
Book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 2, and verse 1. In those days arose Mattathias, the son of John, the son of Simeon, the priest of the son of Joariah, from Jerusalem, and dwelt in Modin.
So like the Lord always do, when the Israelites is going into deep mourning, they going into trouble, the Lord raised up his prophets, man. The Lord rose up Mattathias. Okay? Keep going.
And he had 5 sons: Jonan, called Cades, Simeon, called Thasi, Judas, who was called Maccabeus, Eleazar, called Everon, and Jonathan, whose surname was Aphis. And when he saw the blasphemies that were committed in Judah and Jerusalem, he said, "Woe is me! Therefore I was born to see this misery of my people and the holy city, and to dwell there, when it was delivered into the hand of the enemy, and the sanctuary into the hand of the strangers."
Look at that, man. He said, "Woe is me, man, to go see my people going through these things." Man, it's sad in Mattathias. He ain't look at how everybody was looking at stuff different. He had a different set. He had a different mindset. I'm going to give it to you like in modern times. In America, black people not looking at other black people and their struggles and all that. You know what black people main focus on in America? Is a come up. Their main focus is making it out of the hood, not caring about their people, just, you know what I'm saying, making sure that they good. Making sure they make it out of slavery. They ain't caring and considering about their people. They just say, man, live your life as best as you can. You know what I'm saying? Be you. That's the best advice they can give you. Be you. Do you. You know what I'm saying? Do whatever you good at. That's the most saddest thing ever, man. Mattathias had a mindset to see his people in misery and wonder why his people going through these things and all this atrociousness. Likewise, like how men look at things. You know what I'm saying? In the Isupk on the Commander General Yohana. We had to look at the conditions of black people. Why we suffering, why we going through these things, why we dying viciously. You see what I'm saying? That's how Mattathias looked. And he had pity on his people. He cared about his people. Okay, keep going. Verse 8, keep going.
Her temple is become as a man without glory. Her glorious vessels are carried away into captivity. Her infants are slain in the streets.
So go to 1 Maccabees, drop down to 2 and 15.
Verse 15. In the meanwhile, the king's officers, such as compelled the people to revolt, came into the city Modin to make them sacrifice.
Keep going.
And when many of Israel came into them, Mattathias also and his sons came together. Then answered the king's officers and said to Mattathias on this wise, "Thou art a ruler and an honorable and great man in this city, and strengthened with sons and brethren."
So one of Antiochus' officers come into, you know what I'm saying, a city in Jerusalem, right? He approached Mattathias and he said, man, he realized that Mattathias, man, was a man that was of his city, that's somebody to look up to, who his people looked upon and looked up to and cherished, right? That king, he knew that. You know what I'm saying? When that officer knew it, he trying to come to him in peace. Like, you gotta know your oppressor. His words, they say in the Bible that his words smoother than butter. Smooth as butter. Now, this is what he doing with Mattathias. I'm gonna show you how Mattathias played this, all right? Keep going. 18.
Now therefore, come first and fulfill the king's commandment, like as all the heathen have done. Yea, and the men of Judah also, and such as remain at Jerusalem, so shall thou and thy house be in the number of the king's friends, and thou and thy children shall be honored with silver and gold and many rewards.
So this what he did. He went to Mattathias. He basically tried to will him with riches. You know what I'm saying? Sweet talking him into doing the deal with the devil. You know what I'm saying? What do I mean by doing the deal with the devil? Siding with your oppressor.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Siding, joining hand in hand with your oppressor. Like Jesse Jackson did. Jesse Jackson knew his people was going through a struggle. What did he do? When the oppressor came to him and understood how powerful Jesse Jackson was, he persuaded them. He persuaded them to doing something else. Going against his people. Siding with, you know what I'm saying, the oppressor.
If I could, just to add to that, it's like in today's time, you see a brother put on a dress, and then after that, he becomes rich and powerful. You understand? Mark Owens did it. Kevin Hart. You could go down the list. They all do it. Who's doing it now? Kid Cudi is doing it now. After 2 months, Kid Cudi is going to be on top. He's going to have his own TV show or something like that. This is what this is talking about, just to break it down in simple form so you can relate it to today's time. Brother taking a bag and doing something that he wouldn't do. Nick Cannon just did it. Nick Cannon knows the Jews are black, but he came out and apologized. What happened to Nick Cannon after he did that? He's on daytime TV now. Did y'all know that?
Wow.
Nick Cannon's on daytime TV as well as getting Wild 'N Out back.
Yep.
All from siding with his oppressor. So I can go ahead.
That's a heavy point we're preaching on. So Dariala was saying, man, that's the truth. That's how your oppressor work. He wants you to demasculate yourself. He wants you to never ever think about your culture. He do not want you remembering your culture. He don't want you following God. All right, he don't want you doing none of those things. And guess what? He'll pay big money for you not to do it.
Right.
He'll pay big money for you not to do it. You don't believe me? Ask Commander General Yohana. Ask Commander General Yohana. They try to throw him a bag.
Right.
But guess what? He didn't compromise. This is how you know this the truth. Keep going.
Then Mattathias answered and spake with a loud voice.
He did what?
Spake with a loud voice.
Y'all ever seen a Judite, a Negro get loud? Like for real, for real. Y'all seen a Negro get loud before? In anger? In anguish? This is what Mattathias did. This is exactly what he did. Keep going.
Though all the heathen that are under the king's dominion obey him and fall away, every one of them, the religion of their fathers, and give consent to the commandments, yet will I and my sons and brethren walk in the covenant of our fathers.
You know what he said, man? Y'all understand what Mattathias said? He said, I see all these FNs rolling with y'all. Maybe you can trick them. But me and my sons, we ain't falling for that. We gonna follow our father's business. We about our father's business.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? In layman terms, man, he dealt with him so treacherous. Man, he checked him.
And he caused the scene.
Yeah.
That's what's so heavy. It like the
He
brother
started
said.
off like.
Yeah, it was the brother saying, y'all ever heard a black person get loud?
That's
What
right.
they call it? He got ghetto.
Yeah. He got gangster with him.
Mattathias said, you want to see a nigga? Nigga or nigga?
He got gangster with him. You know?
So he kept it 100.
He kept it straight up raw with him. He kept it so raw with him. That scares the oppressor.
Call.
When you ain't falling into his trinkets, man, and you can't be stopped, that scares him. And you about to see that right now. Keep going.
God forbid that we should forsake the law and the ordinances. We will not hearken to the king's words.
Think about that, man. Think about how much Mattathias considered the Most High over everything. Look how strong his zeal was for the Lord, man. You see that? Mattathias was a true, authentic way on how you serve the Most High. You want to know how to serve the Most High? Have that spirit like Mattathias.
That's right.
You understand? Keep going.
We will not hearken to the king's words to go from our religion either on the right hand or the left.
He said, man, I ain't taking that bag. Man, I ain't listening to that. I'm not taking your bag. I'm not listening to the king. I'm not making no covenant with this king. I'm not about to give up my God. None of that. This is how important it is for you to know your culture. If you know your culture, you know how strong and powerful black people would be right now if they knew their culture for real.
What you say?
You understand? You know how powerful that would be? Go ahead, Mashak.
I just can't help but notice how eerily close this sounds to 3 Hebrew boys answering another king. It said, live, O king, live forever. And you might throw us in the furnace, but we believe the Most High will save us. But if he don't, we still not gonna bow to you.
Right.
You know them niggas right there. Them Negroes right there. And Mattathias sounds so close to them when he's answering this fella here. He sounds so close. Okay, I know you got my life right.
Keep it.
The heavy part about it is the scriptures say, live not by bread alone.
Ooh, that's heavy.
So when you know your history, it don't matter how many times the oppressor gonna come up on you. You're gonna be starving and he gonna come to you with a deal and you ain't gonna live by bread alone. You're not gonna do that deal with him. You see what I'm saying? So
If I could, what makes you do that? How do you not live by bread alone? What did they know that we don't know today? Good talk, go ahead.
I was connecting it to what Cap said in the class yesterday. If you teach a man not to fear death,
That's
he'll
what
never
he
be
did.
a slave.
Give him that. That's what he did. These brothers right here, they fear death. To the Rock's point, that's why they said, man, we ain't going against our power. Today, we fear death. Today, we fear not being broke. Today, we fear other people's opinion. Back then, we only cared about our power. We knew who could raise us from the dead.
That's it.
That's an extremely heavy point. You know what I'm saying? That's so extreme because guess what? You know what they understood and knew? They knew about reincarnation. You see what I'm saying? Like people in today's time, like Dariella said, they fear being broke. Something small and petty like that. That's what they fear. Your oppressor got you out here feeling scared if you in a little poverty, man. It ain't even gonna last that long. If you with your God, if you with your power and you serving the Most High. You understand? Like, come on now, man. Now the oppressor got you fearing smaller things that ain't even death. You see what I'm saying? Go ahead.
That people are scared of somebody not liking them on the internet.
Get a brother a hand. Come on. People fear the most silliest nonsense things, man. So silly. You fearing a girl leaving you. Come on now, man. You gotta, in this world, you gotta know this, man. When you walking with the Lord, man, be ready to go to war. Be ready to go to war, man. You know what I'm saying? Now, I ain't telling nobody to pick no guns up and shoot nobody in the face, but I will say this. Be ready to war up in, with principalities, spiritually. You know what I'm saying? Spiritually war up, man. Meaning what? When somebody trying to entice you with pork and make you compromise. The Most High. Make you compromise with throwing money in your face. A little job. Alright? Somebody try to listen, I'm going to tell y'all this right now. Somebody try to give me 100 bands right now to lead this truth. I ain't doing it. You understand? Certain things you can't compromise. Okay? Because all what's gonna happen is what? I get that 100 bands, I'll be broke in the next 3 years. You know what I'm saying? Being caught something. Alright? All messed up. Long history. You get what I'm saying? Keep going though. Come on, y'all, keep going.
Now when he had left speaking these words, there came one of the Jews in the sight of all to sacrifice on the altar which was at Moed, according to the king's commandment.
Keep going.
Which thing, when Mattathias saw, he was inflamed with zeal.
He was what?
Inflamed with zeal.
All right, so what's this talking about? What do this mean? What this talking about, Brakia?
Good question, sir.
When it's saying right here that Mattathias was inflamed with zeal, right? What's this talking about?
He had like today. He had energy to do evil, right?
No. Somebody, go ahead, Stu.
Sir, he was inflamed with the zeal, meaning he had spirit of the Lord, and he was willing to do anything that, with no compromise, to make sure that he made pretty much the Most High look good. So he was willing to go to the line for it.
Okay, you definitely own it, but I need somebody to hit on the nail. Go ahead,
What is zeal?
You pretty much just off at one of God's people disrespected their God, their fellow God, and he wanted to give them the consequences that the law of God called for.
Get that brother hand. That's exactly what it is. That inflamed with zeal, he was pissed when he saw that dude go sacrifice, you know what I'm saying, some pork on that altar.
Goddamn right.
He was inflamed with zeal, meaning that's like somebody coming in here and putting chitlins in here on this table right now in front of everybody. You know what's gonna happen to him though? You understand? Come on now. That's exactly what that was like. You know, so y'all can get the energy that, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Well, Mattathias was feeling.
Right.
All right, he was inflamed with zeal. Keep going.
And his reins trembled, neither could he forbear to show his anger according to judgment. Wherefore he ran and slew him on the altar.
Good night. So somebody explain to me what just happened. Somebody explain this right here. Let's get somebody young. Rock, yeah, what happened right here?
All right.
All right, help him out, no sweat.
So, what that one part was they saying that he didn't contain his expression, like he was so mad at the decision that he couldn't even contain it, and he just acted at that point. Like, I wouldn't say like he couldn't contain his countenance at what was going on. Like he had to like do something about it almost.
Yeah, he couldn't control himself. You own it. I get that one too. He couldn't control himself at that point. He had to take him out the game. He slew him, meaning what? Killed that man for that. Put him to death right there. Couldn't take it in his mind no more. And he had the zeal of the Lord to go kill that man.
If I could, just to add to that, right, it's real important to break down what the zeal of God is. Right? Today in the Christian church, if some praise dancing starts to go on, they're going to think that that's zeal of the Lord. So if somebody can just jump up and start slobbing at the mouth and speaking some gibberish, they're going to say that's zeal of the Lord. So it's real heavy to break down what true zeal or having the Spirit of God on you looks like. And when you see somebody sinning, you just can't take it.
Right.
That's the zeal of the Lord. You know what I'm talking about?
No. I was on the same tip as you because I was thinking the same thing as like just to make sure that like when you're following the law, and I was actually gonna look up the law or the punishment or the penalty to what he did in the law. To see that he was actually carrying out the law. And that's what kind of. Damn, that was happening.
Come, sir, if I may just elaborate on your point, because we keep forgetting the Lord is a man of war.
That's right.
You know, and he's the ultimate gangster. So, you know, everything in there is nothing but woe, death, and destruction, and death. You know, and that's coming from the Most High. So that zeal, what you're saying, sir, is definitely, you know, has that.
Yeah, for sure. That's absolutely right. That's absolutely on point. He had the zeal to kill that man. Alright? And that's where his mind drove him to. Seriously. Seriously, man. You gotta put yourself in Mattathias' shoes in the time he was living in, man. The destruction he's seen, the misery of his people. Seeing them have to struggle and go through things and get slaughtered like that by your oppressor. You see what I'm saying? Like in today's modern times, our forefathers seen hangings.
Right.
They seen lynchings.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? 2021, these kids, they seeing the police gun down little kids, little black kids, not just any kid,
Right.
but the black ones. They seeing all these things. Think of the time frame he was in, when Antiochus was sending his soldiers down there to just straight murder the whole city, straight murder gang, kill everybody. Think about how his mind was then, and you'll understand why he killed that man. You understand why he killed that brother. All right, keep going. Go ahead.
And that's almost, or it might be the same spirit that Moses had on him when he slew the Egyptians. It was
That is the same spirit that Moses had. It's the same exact one. It's the spirit of God.
Kind, damn right.
Keep going.
Now when he had left speaking these words, there came one of the Jews in the sight of all to sacrifice on the altar.
You read that part? Go to 25.
Verse 25. Also the king's commissioner who compelled men to sacrifice was killed at that time, and the altar he pulled down.
Mattathias had the zeal so crazy on him, he went straight ballistic. He went gangster in there on him. Alright, you can only push somebody so far, man. Think about that. You only can push somebody so far in their mind when they know righteousness, man. Mattathias couldn't take it no more. He couldn't take his people, the oppressor, that officer, making his people sacrifice. You know what I mean? Sacrifice pork on the altar or do some vile thing against the Lord. He couldn't stand that in his mind. Couldn't take it no more. He killed them. He killed the Jew that did it, and he killed the one, the officer that tried to persuade him. All right, keep going.
Thus dealt he zealously for the law of God.
Hold on, zealous of the law.
Thus he dealt zealously for the law of God, like as Phinehas did unto Zimri, the son of Shalom. And Mattathias cried throughout the city with a loud voice, saying,
We ain't gonna never get off this shit. Imagine if this spirit was on the earth today.
Oh, right.
It wouldn't be no goddamn adultery.
Right.
It wouldn't be no STDs.
Right.
What R. Kelly on trial for right now? No. The nigga would be dead. And
Right.
you would know that it's death coming if you look at a little girl.
Right.
So, this is heavy right here what you read, because you notice they reference another time when this happened.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? This is what the zeal of the Lord is. Imagine if this spirit exists today. You don't need to call the cops.
Nope.
Go ahead, brother.
Well, if I may, there won't be no more purple sodomites either.
Which is a lot.
It's a lot.
Niggas be scared to join the break off.
What y'all saying is absolutely on point, sir. It wouldn't be no child molesters. You know what I'm saying? It wouldn't be no thieves. it wouldn't be none of that, man.
LGBT.
No LG, it wouldn't even exist. You see what I'm saying? The spirit of the Lord, man, went zealously like this. If everybody knew who they was, man.
Not Kurt Franklin. Thinking that the zeal of the Lord was dancing across the goddamn stage.
Right.
Come on, man.
Right.
So why?
See, now you learning what really the zeal of the Lord is. Let's talk about what ain't the zeal of the Lord. Dancing around, hopping around, bojangling all over the church. That right there is not the zeal of the Lord. And guess what? You know it firsthand now. It ain't like we making this up.
Right.
It ain't, you can't go back and say, oh, this the zeal of the Lord. No. Crying and boo-hooing and jumping up and down, and that's not the zeal of the Lord. Go ahead, Capone.
I was gonna say too, when in the New Testament, when Christ had the zeal of the Lord on him, that's when he went in the temple flipping over tables and all that
Turning
stuff.
tables like
Yeah,
DJ.
you know, and now he did that because he had the zeal of the Lord on him.
Man, get a brother in hand. That is an excellent point to show you that Christ ain't all that love stuff. It ain't that, man. This Bible, once you actually read it, you'll realize ain't nothing lovable in here.
Come on.
Ain't all that much love in there.
That's right.
All right, it's about 20% love. All right.
Well, all of it's love, right? But
All
it
of it
hurts
is
like
love.
bad tasted medicine.
Right.
Like that medicine you squinting when you take it. That's how that love feel, real love.
It ain't the huggable love that we were taught. That's all. It's love, but this ain't the love that your oppressor taught you.
Right.
Go ahead, bro.
Let me go ahead, Capone.
And Mattathias cried throughout the city with a loud voice, saying, whosoever is zealous of the law and maintain the covenant, let him follow me.
Man, this is what Mattathias did. He called for his soldiers, man. Just like how we always did. How the prophets always do. You know what I'm saying? That fishing. You see what I mean? He called for them soldiers, and guess what? Them real ones gonna stand up.
That's right.
Modern times, that is the ISUPK on the command.
right.
You're the only real ones with the truth. And you're the only ones that's gonna stand up about this, man. You understand? And this is how the Lord always worked. This is our history, man. This is us. Okay, keep going.
So he and his sons fled into the mountains and left all that ever they had in the city. Then many that sought after justice and judgment went down into the wilderness to dwell there. Both they and their children and their wives and their cattle, because afflictions increased sore upon them.
Read.
Now when it was told the king's servants and the host that was at Jerusalem in the city of David, that certain men who had broken the king's commandment were gone down into the secret places of the wilderness.
So this got back to Antiochus and them. It got back to them. And guess what? Mattathias ain't comply, and also his man got slaughtered within the process. All right, keep going.
They pursued after them a great number, and having overtaken them, they camped against them and made war against them on the Sabbath day.
Read.
And they said unto them,
They made war with the land.
and they made war against them on the Sabbath day.
You can't skip over that. Why? The Israelites say, we break the Sabbath.
Right.
And what happened on the Sabbath day? They went to war.
Good night.
And they said unto them, let that which ye have done hitherto suffice. Come forth and do according to the commandment of the king, and ye shall live. But they said, we will not come forth, neither will we do the king's commandment to profane the Sabbath day.
Keep going.
So then they gave them the battle with a speed.
With all speed.
With all speed. Howbeit they answered them not, neither cast they a stone at them, nor stopped the places where they had hid, but said, let us die all in our innocency.
Okay, so this is the fake Israelites right here, is it right? This the fake Israelites right here. Look what they do. What they say?
It says, let us die in our innocence.
Good night.
What they say, brother?
Let us die in our innocence.
Let me tell you something. This is the spirit of a fake Israelite. And I'm going to tell you why this is the spirit of a fake Israelite. On the Sabbath day, you can't warm up. You can't do nothing. All right? Literally. You can't cut on. You can't turn on no heat. You can't leave the house.
Okay.
You can't do nothing. Somebody said you couldn't. Somebody told me something crazy you couldn't do on the Sabbath day. Go ahead, Katai.
Jeremiah Hyman was breaking down. He was talking to this one guy across the line. He was like, "Do you sleep in a bed? Is that pleasant to you? Does it feel good to sleep in your bed? You can't even sleep in your bed on the Sabbath. So what? You can't even sleep on the Sabbath day either."
That's the no pleasure on. You have no pleasure on the Sabbath.
Right.
Yeah, man, but they don't get no. They take their rest to a whole nother level, them fake Israelites.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna just leave it at that. I'm not giving them no credit. Keep going.
But said, let us die in our innocency. Heaven and earth will testify for us that ye put us to death wrongfully.
All right. That right there, they want to be remembered for getting put to death and not fighting back in a time of war. You want to know something? Somebody else pull this. Pull Ecclesiastes, the 3rd chapter, right? And I ain't gonna be too long-winded with this. Go to like 3 and 8. Just real fast. Go ahead.
Kind. Ecclesiastes chapter 3 and verse 8. A time to love and a time to hate.
Keep going.
A time of war.
A time of what?
A time of war.
Hold on, man. They wasn't in a time where they could just be in peace.
Right.
All right? It's a time and a place for everything. They was at the wrong, they thinking the wrong thing at the wrong time. They was in a time of war, and they chose to die and let all them innocent kids die and their children and their wives die. Think about that. Keep going.
And a time of peace.
All right. Go back a point.
So they rose up against them in battle. So they rose up against them in battle on the Sabbath, and they slew them with their wives and their children and their cattle to the number of 1,000 people.
Good night. They ain't protect nothing. They ain't protect them kids. They ain't protect their wives. They said, let us all die in our innocency. Go ahead.
Is that misguided understanding to turn the other cheek? They was just turning the Christian cheek, I guess. Because that's what they'd tell you in the church. If somebody hits you, just turn the other cheek. So they was just sitting there dying.
Yeah, you got on to the point of it, but I wouldn't really relate it to this like that. I wouldn't really do that.
Come on.
All right, keep going.
Now when Mattathias and his friends understood hereof, they mourned for them right sore. And one of them said to another, if we all do as our brethren have done, and fight not for our lives and the laws against the heathen, they will now quickly root us out of the earth.
Let me tell you something. They had to think like, man, if we do what they just did, we're gonna get murked just like them. Right. We're gonna go extinct doing what they just did.
Right.
They had a council about that.
Yeah, because it's not to turn the other cheek, because them lazy clowns wouldn't turn no cheek. That's worse. Right. They wouldn't do that. So it's really war. The Lord is a man of war. If I know my enemy is having a Sabbath and he ain't gonna do nothing, well, we're gonna pick that day and kill him. Every time.
Damn right.
So they ain't gonna do that.
Yeah, the enemy could just come in. They know how to get you. It's too easy. It was too sweet to them at this point. Keep going.
At that time thereof, they decreed, saying, Whosoever shall come to make battle with us on the Sabbath day, we will fight against them, neither will we die all, as our brethren that were murdered in their secret places.
You see that? I'm telling you, man, they made that treaty like, man, we ain't doing what they did. Somebody come up against us, we going to war.
That's right.
Nobody dying. Ain't nobody dropping in our camp. That's exactly how they was thinking. They were all was on one accord. They all was one body.
Damn right.
They all was one West, man.
Damn right.
You gotta understand that spirit of one West. This really what that is. That's serious, man. Keep going.